Hello, how are you? I'm Katie Gates and welcome to The Whole Agenda. Today I want to talk about a very complex task, and it is for a whole lot of us, including myself, because I had to sit down and give myself this same lesson that I'm speaking to you about. And while it didn't feel good, I am so thankful that I did. I am talking about change. Is it easy for you? Is it hard? Is it a maybe? Is it a somewhat? Let me know in the comments below, because I know for me, it was I just got to kick my shoes off, or better yet, put my shoes on and just get it done. But let me know how it was for you. So the first thing that I want to say about change is that change is a two-way street. That's a phrase or a proverb or a saying that we've heard for I don't know how long. I've heard that ever since I was a girl, and I'm 42. So that's been a very long time ago. Change is a two-way street. In other words, it goes both ways. So if you're expecting so-and-so to change, but yet you have not changed your ways for the better, how can you then expect so-and-so to change their ways for the better? I'm a strong believer of we get what we put out. So the energy that we put out is the energy that we receive back. So if we put greatness or goodness out, we're going to receive greatness and goodness back, right? The same thing is true when it comes to change. If you want to receive great change, then you have to put great change out. And that is relevant in every area of our lives. If we want to see great change, then we have to put great change out, because we cannot be a world changer or a people changer in a good way, a positive way. We can't make a positive impact on someone if we are not making a positive impact on ourselves or within ourselves. And I hope I'm making sense. A bit of a tongue twister there. I know for me, as a writer, I've learned that positive impact requires positive vessels. So as a writer, I knew that in order to impact you in a positive manner, I had to change my vessel in a positive way. That's good. That makes a good quote. I knew that I had to change my vessel in a positive way, because my overall goal was to impact you in a positive way, the viewer in a positive way. So I knew I had to do that as a writer. Not only that, I had to understand that trying to change other people or trying to change you, the viewer, while still being a mess, because that essentially is what it is, a mess, when we're not operating in greatness or at our greatest potential. It's a mess, right? And so I knew that I could not change you or anyone else that I was around while still being a mess. Not only was that a long shot, it was near impossible. And if you know me, you know that I don't like the word impossible. And if you don't know me, now you know that I don't like the word impossible. I don't even like to speak it from my lips, because I believe that all things are possible to those who believe, to those who have great faith, right? So I don't like the word impossible, but I can honestly say or admit that trying to change someone else for the better while still being a mess is nearly impossible. It's a long shot. So that's just real truth. And I have got to be truthful with you all. And so at some point, because it's nearly impossible, so at some point, if we don't see any change happening, if you're trying to change others while not changing yourself, if you see no change happening, at some point, we have got to have a sit down, a real honest, open sit down with reality and clarity, because we're missing something. It's something that we're missing. And some of you may say, well, I'm a great person and I do this and I do that. And I'm trying to, enforce change over here, and I'm doing this to change that person and to change that person. We have to also keep in mind that people change when they want to change. If they don't want to change, they're not going to change. But if you know that if you see yourself needing change, then you have got to change yourself first before trying to impact someone else in a positive way. Things just go a whole lot smoother that way, a whole lot better. You feel better about yourself. You have understanding and clarity. You're with reality. So if you're trying to change others before changing yourself, flip the script, change yourself first, and others will follow. Change yourself first, walk that thing out, and others will follow. So that's something that I had to realize as a writer, just as a person in general. I had to have a sit down with reality and clarity. And it's something that we should all do, even if we feel like we don't need to change. Sometimes we're unclear on some things in life, and it requires a sit down with clarity, a moment to take a breather, a moment of stillness to find peace. When we find peace, we find clarity. And clarity is such an amazing thing. I remember having my head all boggled up, full of clouds all over the place, hoping for things to just come together, praying, Father, please help me. Please bring this together. Not understanding that I had the answers all along. I had to take a moment. Instead of trying to change everybody else, I had to change myself first. And then everything else fell in line, and everybody else just followed. It's an amazing, amazing thing. So don't be afraid to have a sit down talk with clarity, with reality, because truth, real truth, is the true way to change. And we all want that, right? And so the greatest thing for me, and I'm so glad that I did it, and you'll be glad too, right? Is that I did find the courage to have a sit down with reality and clarity. And although they both showed me some things that I was like, ooh, I was cringing. I was like, ooh, is that me? Am I really like that? Or did I really say that? Am I really thinking that? So while it was hard, it's like little pains, you're being pricked by little needles. It's hard. It's not easy. It's one of the greatest things that I've ever done. And I'm so glad that I did it. And you will be too. In my sitting, and I truly believe that you will get the same thing. I understood that my home, work, social, and spiritual lives would not experience positive change unless I changed first. If I'm bringing negative energy with me, right? I'm just pulling it, dragging it everywhere I go. If I'm pulling that with me, what do you think I'm going to give out when I get around so-and-so or to the class or to work or to church or to, the party going on? Negativity. I'm going to bring negativity. Now, I do have to clarify something. Energy is transferable, right? We know that. We have to learn to distinguish between if it's your energy they're feeling or if it's their own. So I'm going to talk more about that in a different video because that can be very confusing, because I hear a lot of you all saying, well, I'm a good person and I bring great energy with me, and yet I'm getting pushback. A lot of the times that's not your energy, it's the person's energy. They can't receive your energy due to some inner wounds that they have in here and up here. So we'll talk more about that in a different video. But I understood that my home, work, social, and spiritual lives would not experience positive change unless I changed first. And as unjust as that sounds, because it does not sound fair, why do I have to change first? I know all the good things to say, and I know the good thoughts to put out there. And I can still do my dirty work behind closed doors and pretend to be so-and-so when I go out. Why do I have to put all the effort and work into changing myself in a positive way first before I can touch so-and-so over there in a positive way? It's just not fair. It sounds unjust, but it is fair. Because see, that's another good thing. We understand the fairness of positive change when we change for the better. Because when we change for the better, we start thinking in a more positive manner. That brings forth clarity. And then we understand why it was not unjust, but very just for us to change in a positive way. Oh, that is so good. It's so good. So it sounds unjust, but I promise you, it's truly not. It's truth. That's what it is. When we sit down and we understand that we can't change or we can't impact others in a positive manner without changing first, it's truth. And I'm a strong believer in eating truth. We have to learn how to eat our truth and digest it. That's the only way we get better and we grow. And so my sit down brought me to this one conclusion, and it's going to do the same for you. I can almost guarantee it. I had to change me before I could change them. That was my conclusion. I had to change me before I could work to changing you. And like I said, as unjust as that sounds, unfair as that sounds, as hard as that sounds, it is the real truth. I had to change me before I could change you. And there's two reasons for that when it comes to my situation. Number one, I'm not in the business of hoodwinking you or anyone else, or myself for that matter. I'm not in the business of hoodwinking you. So that was one of the reasons why I had to change before I could get on here and try and change you. Because I'm not in the business of hoodwinking you or anyone else. And number two, being a world changer without being changed is flaw. That is very flaw. That's not right at all. That was not something that I was willing to do. So those were my two reasons for really working hard to change myself in a more positive way, because I wanted to be able to touch you, help to change you, and be real about it. Because that's life. Life is real. It's not for play. Life is real. And so I had to start within first. And then for me, the rest followed. And that's going to happen for you. When you start within first to change yourself in a more positive way, the rest will follow. Everything else will begin to fall into place. Everything else around you will get better. And even if situations come against you and you feel like things aren't getting better yet, you'll know how to handle them better. And then they have no choice but to get in line and straighten up. So that's why change is a two-way street. Because in order to change someone else, you have to change yourself first. It goes both ways. I'm Katie Gates, and I hope that this has helped you to, or have urged you to want to change. I know that it did for me, and I'm so happy that I have changed, and I'm still working on changing for the better. So I love you all so much. Thank you for joining me here on The Whole Agenda. Drop me a comment. I love to read them. I would love to hear your thoughts on this video. Don't forget to like me or follow me, shall I say, and hit the notification bell as well so you can get all of those beautiful alerts when I upload new videos. I try to do that once weekly or sometimes twice weekly. It all depends on how I'm flowing, right? With the energy, that is. So I love you all so much. And yet again, thank you for joining me here on The Whole Agenda. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.